All right, so let's now talk about debt financing. And we are going to start with debt financing for um, people that want to buy a property. Now, the most common debt financing model for buying real estate is mortgage. If you are buying a property, you are going to a mortgage bank for whatever interest rate they are giving you, you are just debt financing. It's as simple as that. You are taking a loan to buy that property and then using that property as collateral for that whatever loan that you are collecting. All right, so you can see the difference now between using debt and using equity. If I want to buy a property and the property is 200 million, I have 60 million, and I'm using equity, I'm not taking a loan, and I'm not also going to be paying any interest. What I'm just doing is that I'm giving out ownership of that property to share with others, equity. But with debt, you still own that property 100%, just that in this case, the funding and the capital that you are receiving to buy that property is a loan, which you have to repay, and you have to repay with interest. So debt financing still gives you 100% ownership, but is a loan. Equity financing does not give you 100% ownership, because the reason why you are giving out equity itself is for other people to own some ownership in that property itself. Now, equity financing does not come with interest, because you have already shared ownership with every other person. So everybody feels the risk and everybody feels the yield. But with debt financing, you are paying interest because the property is still yours 100%. You face the risk and you face the yield. If anything happens to that property and that property has to go down, you still have to repay whatever interest or whatever loan that it is. If that property is empty, the tenants are not paying, they're not consign the people that finance the mortgage for you or finance the house purchase for you, you still have to pay. You understand? It's 100% on you. If the short-let market or whatever that you are using that property for is not moving, it's none of the business of the people that finance the property for you. Their own is pay us our money, pay us our interest, and that's it. So that's debt financing. So mortgage is a perfect example of debt financing. So, and that's why you drop a percentage, you contribute an equity, the bank finance the balance, you are repaying the bank every month, and you are repaying with interest. Debt financing will always come with interest. Now, for development also, there is also the debt financing model for development too, which is where either private investors or entities or financiers or angel investors are the one funding that project, and then there's a particular interest attached to it, and that project is also the collateral. So for debt financing also, it's none of the business of those that are funding you. If you deliver it or you not deliver it, their own is pay us back our money at a stipulated period. Debt financing always have a duration. Debt financing always have an interest. Debt financing always have a repayment. And then for debt financing, it is 100% ownership. You are not trading ownership of that property with anybody or for anything. So if you are doing a project and you are trading ownership, it's not debt, it's equity. If you are doing a project and someone is financing you and you still own that property 100%, it's not equity, it's debt. And these two models also attract different terms. For debt, you cannot hold your financiers on ransom that sorry, cement when we were starting this project, we did our projection. Cement was 5,500, but now cement is 10,000. So sorry, we'll not be able to meet up. That it's none of their business. They are giving you the money. Is now you're ready to deliver or do whatever that you want to do, and then pay them back their own money. That it is a debt. You understand? It's a debt. Definitely, there will always be a collateral attached to that debt, but it's a debt. It's that just is taking They just want their money back, or they take up the collateral. As simple as that. So there's always a repayment, there's always an interest, and there's always a duration. So if you take a 10 years mortgage, 10 years is the duration. You take a 20 years mortgage, 20 years is the duration. You take a 30 years mortgage, 30 years is the duration. Is a debt financing, it's a debt model. But for equity, there is no duration because you have already share and share ownership with whoever that you are collecting capital from, and everybody is in the same boat. If we deliver, everybody is happy. If we don't deliver, everybody is at loss. So everybody is sharing the risk, everybody is sharing the yield. That's equity financing. So like I said, for a lot of people that are into businesses, that are entrepreneurs, they're already familiar with the differences between using debt and using equity. And the common rule is that when your business is still at the startup or the growth stage, you use equity. It's only when you are at the expansion stage that's when you start using debt. So for property investors also, and for property buyers that want to buy a property or that want to develop a property, you also have to be careful with the model that you are using so that you don't use equity financing when you should be using debt, and you don't use debt financing when you should be using equity. I know a couple of you guys might have more questions about the equity model anyway, but one of the things that we are also working on behind the scene is a prop tech that can make it easy for people to come together and own equity in the project. A two-bed in Lekki phase one right now is like 180, 200 million. So which means that if I don't have 200 million, I can't buy a two-bed in Lekki phase one. You know, but with equity real estate, it makes it easier because with equity real estate, it means that even if I have 20 million, I can buy a two-bed in Lekki phase one. Even if I have 50 million, I can buy a two-bed in Lekki phase one. Just that I'll be trading ownership with others. So instead of owning 100% ownership of that property, I likely will be owning 20%, 25%, 15%, as the case might be. And one of the reasons why there's so much pressure on our mortgage industry here is because our equity financing model is dead. So it's either you have the whole money to buy that property in that location, or you take a loan. But assuming we have a thriving equity real estate, it means that even if I don't have the whole money, I can join and share ownership with others and still own a property in Lekki phase one. So let's say a two-bed in Lekki phase one now generates 24 million naira a year via cash flow. Maybe it's for short let 24, 25 million naira a year via cash flow. It means that if I own 10% equity in that property, I'll be collecting 2.5, 2.4, 2.5 million naira a year as part of my equity dividends. If I own 50% equity in that property, I'll be collecting 12 million to 10 million naira a year as part of my equity dividends. If I own 30% equity in that property, I'll be collecting now like 6 point something million naira a year as part of my, or 7 point something million naira a year as part of my equity ownership. So that's the idea and the advantages of equity. If we have a thriving equity model, a thriving equity platform, people know that I can play Lekki game or Lekki phase one game even if I have 20 million. I can play Ikoyi game even if I have 50 million. I can play Victoria Island game even if I have 30 million. Despite the fact that this capital cannot buy a property there on outright, but I can still enjoy equity ownership of having a one bed, a two bed there, and still be enjoying the capital appreciation that comes with Victoria Island, and also the cash flow dividends that come with Victoria Island. Victoria Island, Ikoyi, Lekki phase one, this past December was fully booked out. Fully booked out with shortlets. All the shortlets were fully booked. Even some of them are still fully booked out till now. So the opportunities are there already, but there's so much pressure on our debt financing model, and our interest rates are pretty very high, all because our equity real estate is underperforming and the potential is just there and is underutilized. So these are also part of the things that we are opening our doors for now to discuss with partners that, okay, if you can do this, we can do this based on our market here. there's this, you can build this platform, you can invest this amount, you can build this architecture, and provide this opportunity. A lot of people will come in, a lot of funds will come in. We have close like around $600 million that comes into the real estate market in Lagos every year. Sorry, $600 million that come into the real estate market in Nigeria every year. Nigeria generally, because like around 1.2 to 1.5 billion dollars goes into the entire um, construction markets, like every year from Nigerians in diaspora. So there is actually the capital there. Around $20 billion comes into Nigeria every year as diaspora remittance. So people are ready to put in funds into Nigeria, but it's all about providing some certain platforms, some certain opportunities, and they feel like, okay, with my 20,000 USD, with my 15,000 USD, I can actually play Lucky game, I can play the Victoria Island game because I'm sharing equity with other people. All right, so if you are interested in that, you can also reach out to me, and if you have something to add also based on what we explained here, versus equity financing, what are the opportunities and so on and so forth, like that, so you can also discuss with us and we can see what we can work out for you. And some of you understand this more than me because some of you are finance guys. So I also appreciate if you guys can also add your perspective and other technicalities to it also in the comment section. All right, so I still remain your number one property guy on the planet, your property advisor, property consultant. My name is Rabiu Mustafa. Thanks so much for watching our videos. Thanks for engaging on them. Thanks for um, listening to our 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes talk. We know your time is very, very valuable, but we appreciate you guys being there. We appreciate also all the engagement, all the support also. And it's because you guys are watching this content, that's why we are continuously also like still shooting. So you guys are the real MVP. All right. Thanks and see you later.